she died. I'm not sure that anybody even knows her name, but
Michelle made it.
she's buried right here. There's a plaque here explaining the whole story, and this is right by the old Mount Hood Loop Highway. Like I said, nobody really knows her name, but notice that on the trail, that on the interpretive sign here, they mention Lige Coleman, don't they? Stephen Coleman. Oh, they don't mention Lige?
Large colon.
Stephen Coleman.
Anyway, Stephen Coleman must have been the dad. Lige Coleman is a very famous character here. Well, used to be back in the 20s and 30s. He single-handedly, pretty much with the help of a couple of other sturdy fellows, they took timbers up to the top of Mount Hood. Wow. They built a lookout there, a fire lookout. And then they strung a cable, a telephone cable, all the way up Mount Hood. How did they do it? Lige, who was a really sturdy fellow, would basically carry a roll of that cable, several miles of it, right? And as he went, he just let it unroll behind him. The trick is, at the end of the season, before the snows came, he had to disassemble the whole thing and roll up the whole cable all the way down to Timberline.
Oh, what a pain.
Oh, all the way down to Government Camp, maybe. I don't know. Anyway. And they said that he was incredibly strong and agile, and when he saw some hikers in trouble, he'd just run down the mountain and help them out and go back up and spend days and nights in that cabin that he built at the top. That cabin survived there for something like maybe 20 or 30 years, and eventually it was hit by lightning and kind of destroyed in a fire. But to this day, he is commemorated, Lige Coleman. There's a Lige Street in Government Camp.
Right.
Now you know.
Wow. Sorry, off my bike. I couldn't.
This is from Sarah Cummins, one of the pioneers. She wrote, "The traveling was slow and toilsome. Slopes were almost impassable for man and beast. As night was coming in, it seemed we all must perish. But weak, faint, and starving, we went on. I could scarcely put one foot before the another. I weighed less than 80 pounds at the time.
Wow.
My own party had been 14 days with only 9 biscuits between them, and 4 small slices of bacon."
Wow.
This is where Elizabeth Goldtra in September of 1853 said, "I do not like Oregon yet, so far."
I would have stayed in the valley.
I do not like Green
And
Town.
just so you know that this is not the only graveyard, Agnes Stewart, again in 1853, said, "I'm weary of this journey, weary of myself and all around me. I long for the quiet of home where I can be at peace once more." Past a graveyard with 10 graves in it. They lie side by side, as peaceful as if the church bells of their native village tolled over them. But, okay, just so that it isn't too depressing, let me share one merry moment. As you can see, especially when we get to the chute there, the very steep chute at Laurel Hill, this was a one-way road mostly, right? I mean, who could ever think of going back that way? Especially with the oxen and everything. But a few people did. And this is one, a Ralph Gear in 1847, somewhere east of here. He met a single wagon going back home. And it was a guy from Missouri. Oh, this was actually way back in Wyoming. They met somebody who was already coming back from Oregon. At the last crossing of the Sweetwater River, we met a man by the name of Grant with his whole family on his way back to Missouri. When he asked what his objections to Oregon were, he said this. Now, I don't know, he was probably trying to be funny, but he said this. "In the first place, they have no bees there. And in the second place, they can't raise corn. And where they can't raise corn, they can't raise hogs. And where they can't raise hogs, they can't have bacon. and I'm going back to Missouri where I can have cornbread, bacon, and honey.
So there.
So good riddance, good riddance.
We must hit the desert.
Our next direction, where are we going?
We're going that way.
On the road?
That way.
On the trail?
Trail.
On the road, on the road.
Oh.